I studied, I think I hardly slept more than 4 or 5 hours. I would get up early in the morning, and then the study of Sanskrit was very difficult. But I did it. So, Jigyasu is this important thing. If you're really serious, it's not a casual thing. Because if it is casual, then your mistakes continue. If you want to really correct the mistake, you have to really understand where you're making a mistake. Because what happens is your mind is very clever. It's very clever. You tell your mind, I want to study. The mind says, well, let's have some fun. It says, I know fun will later, but I want to really study. So it says, okay, study. Okay, study. Then after a while it answers you. You say, what have you learned so far? You seem to be the same person. So it poses questions to you which you have to answer. And so you have to have Shraddha, you have to have commitment. This is all going to come in a minute. In fact, Shraddha Bhakti. So I'm actually just already at that point. I'm covering that already. So you need to silence your mind and says, just follow me, okay? Don't pose these questions. And slowly it seeps into you. It's not a good... And it only does if you are not prepared. If you are prepared, and so this is exactly what the Sudhakar's question was, that, I'm 85 years old and what happens in this? So what happens is you keep on preparing, and if, God forbid, your body gives up, that preparation is not lost. And this is what happens in the case of Ramana Maharshi and so many other saints. In the very beginning, they just said, I don't have anything to do with worldly life. I want to focus on it. So this is all Jigyasu, which requires commitment and a study until the vichara is ready to be done. And once the vichara is ready to be done, it doesn't take much time. It's very instantaneous. So we'll see all that. So anyway, so that's that. So that's on page 39. Then a very interesting subtopic on page 40, why should one go to a teacher? Because what is communicated in the first verse is, this very learned person approached a teacher. Why should one approach a teacher? This is exactly the problem we have. There's a lot of people who fail. I meet so many people who I ask them what they'll say. Nice to meet you, and so I says, what's your background? Well, I've been studying various books and so on. So I says, do you have a teacher? He says, no, I don't really have a teacher, but I'm just studying it on like that. Which is good, but it doesn't really do anything. You require a teacher. The question is, why do you require a teacher? It's a very brief answer, but all of that is given in here. You should read it in more detail. I'm going to say this over and over again because I'm just going to give you the gist of what the main points are and then have you really elaborate it for yourself. The reason that you need a teacher is we are born as a human being. So what the implication of that is that I take limitedness as real. There's nothing strange about it to me. The fact that I am imperfect, that I am here, not there, is normal. But what I want to do is to become a little bit more comfortable, bigger, more knowledgeable, but stay within the limits of limitation. I cannot visualize that my nature is total freedom already. I cannot do that. It's kind of like, we've given this example before. Supposing you are, so this is what is called Chidakasha. So Chidakasha means, Akasha means space, and Chidakasha means a space of consciousness. So suppose this space had consciousness. Just assume for a minute. When it comes to yourself, you don't have to assume you are the Chidakasha, as we will see. But for this example, let us just see that suppose the space has consciousness. It has a personality. Okay? So now that means that no matter what the shape of a room is, there is a certain personality. So let's suppose there is a bathroom, not very big, smelly and so on. So there is a certain personality to the bathroom, and he says, I'm a bathroom. So if an interview is given, how do you like your... He says, I don't like it. It's very smelly from time to time. And I want to be... What I really want to do is to be a kitchen. It smells better, it's bigger. Okay, so you sure? But you know something? You're already total space. He says, that I don't understand. All I want to do is to be a kitchen. He says, no, the kitchen also is just a limited one. Why do you want to be from one limited one to another limited one which may be slightly bigger? He says, no, don't ask me about these kinds of things. Can you just make me into a kitchen? So, this is all these people, they tear down the walls, and my younger son and his wife just did that. They had a room, they bought an older home that was all segmented into small things, and they really done a great job. They've taken all the walls out, now they're bigger rooms and so on. So that can be done. So the bathroom becomes a kitchen. And after a while, it says, you do the interview and says, Mr. Kitchen, how do you feel? It's okay, I'm better, but this hall, this prayer hall, that is a better place. And I wish I was that. So you tell the same person, see, the essence of the bigger hall is the same as the essence of you. It is space, and the walls are not you. They are enclosures. They are upadhis. We'll talk about upadhis later. So he says, no. Don't give me all these theoretical things. I just want to be a hall. This is the situation. So why go to a teacher? This was the original question. The need to go to a teacher is, no matter what you do, you always think in terms of being a limited person. And no one else except a live human being who knows and who you have some respect for can look into your eyes and say, what are you talking about? You are the very thing you are seeking. And so this requires a very interesting situation. First of all, you need to have a wise person that you respect. That's not easy to find. And it requires you who's qualified to understand if the wise person points out the fingers to you. Both have to be done. Only then this problem is solved. This is why you need to go to a teacher. And we just pick up a book, and so what will happen is that there is a limited book and a limited human being, and the limited book and the limited human being don't cancel each other out. They stay within limitation. This is the essence of it. Besides, you can try it, it doesn't work. No one has become free by reading books. It just does not happen, even if it should happen, but it doesn't happen. Actually, it should not happen, as we've already seen. But even if it should happen, it doesn't happen. This is why in the Vedanta they say, please find a guru quickly if you're ready. Quick, don't waste any time. And it's getting difficult. I just got a query from a gentleman in Seattle, and he said that I've heard of you, and I'm looking for a guru, and I would like to talk to you about being my guru. So I said, where are you from? So I called him. He says, I'm in Seattle. And he had lost his wife for some, I think either an accident or so, I forget what. And so he's a single dad for a 6-year-old girl, and in Seattle. And he's been studying, and he now knows that he needs a guru. So I had a long talk with him, and I said, who have you studied with, what's been happening, and so on. He said, very fortunate that he's been studying under Swami Paramarthananda's lectures from Chennai. It's a beautiful thing. He's a very, very evolved person. He's a Mahatma. So, and he said, I really wanted to meet with him. And so recently I went to Chennai to meet with him, with Swami Paramarthananda. He just met him he called me 2-3 weeks ago, and he had just been there a week ago, before that. So I said, yes. So he said, I approached Swami Paramarthananda and asked him to be my guru. So Swami Paramarthananda had the same conversation like I did. Where are you? What is your situation? This, that, or the other. So he said, my dear, here's the thing. The modern day guru is not the same as it used to be before. Because to make a guru means you have to go someplace and live with the person for a length of time. This is why an ashram life is very important, because this is what is called, what is it called? Antevasinaha. It's called Antevasinaha. Antevasina means one who lives very close by. You have conversations every day, you talk to the person. This is the traditional guru-shishya relationship. So this is for me Paramarthananda telling him. So that made my job a lot easier. So he said, it's not possible to do that anymore. But, having said that, now we have new technology that removes some of the problems. What that means is, you have at least an audio and preferably a video. And that approximates it quite a bit, because you can feel the emotions of the teacher, the arguments of the teacher. You can see it, and you can at least occasionally meet the person, talk to him. He says that's best we can do. And he says that seems to work. It works. So he says that I don't recommend that you move to Chennai. You just stay where you are. And then I think he had said that there are some local teachers, he might have mentioned my name, And so he says that try to develop a relationship. And so this is what it is. So when you have to find a teacher, we have to find the right person to study. And there are so many good teachers now, really. It's those days are gone where they were but then you have to also understand who's. The main thing is you should understand the sampradaya. The sampradaya means that the Advaita Vedanta should be there, which means what? Know things about yoga, meditation, bhakti, this, that or the other. Study, do vichara. All these other things, studying, etc., equip you to be able to sit down and ask the right questions. Why am I feeling not good? What is the reason for it? And is it because I'm not doing viveka? Is it because my vairagya is not complete? All of that vichara has to be done. So everything else, studying books, talking to the gurus and so on, all that acquires, all that does is to acquire you with the ability to think yourself. That alone will solve your problem. Nothing else will solve the problem. Don't take my word for it. This is what I've learned from the Mahatmas after a long study. So this is the situation. Why approach a guru? And this is, I think, Swamiji has also given some ideas on this, so you can study that. Okay. Then, I think the importance of the guru's or the student's right attitude is fairly obvious that you need to have a shraddha in somebody. This is actually an interesting problem because we all have grown up in our own way, having acquired knowledge, some capabilities, and that means it is associated with my feeling who I am. You can call it ego, whatever it is, you have a certain sense of where you are. Now along comes a teacher who seems to be saying the right things, but then you have doubts. Is this person really any better than what I am? Does he really know? Should I abandon my thinking towards what this person is saying? And that is not easy because the ego says, I'm not sure. Test him. See what I don't know whether he is happy or not. That's another thing. So all those doubts come in. And so in terms of the context of this, the right attitude is, yes, there seems to be something very interesting being said, more than what I have done, something new, something more glorious, and let me submit myself to this person. So this is the importance of the student's right attitude on page 42. The next subtopic on page 45 is the knowledge of the self is most exalted amongst all forms of knowledge. So this comes from the two words varishtam and nigudham, or from the verse. So these are, Swamiji has done a great job in writing it pretty much close to what the, which is what is done. Your commentary should be very close to what the verses are saying. So there it was, going back to where is it? Yeah. Adhihi bhagavo brahma vidyam varishtham sada sadvihi sevyamananam. Then yaya achirat sarva papam sada sadvihi sevyamananam nigudham. Nigudha means secret. And Varishtham means the best. So this is a very fascinating way of looking at the way the Ishvara's creation is. That the best knowledge is so secret that it is difficult. It seems very difficult to find. Very secret. Where is it secret? If you understand this, we've already talked about it, but let me say this. It is a secret because you are taking the acquisition of the Atma as apraptasya praptihi, natu praptasya prapti. As a result of this mistake, you are outward bound, looking for experiences. When in fact you are the very giver of the experiences and you do not realize it. There's a very famous story which you must have all heard, but Swami Dayanand just told us this is a classic story, very beautiful. So the story goes that there was a very good diamond merchant that used to travel between Mumbai and Surat. Surat is the place where they do all the diamond processing and so on. So this guy would go back and forth in a train and he would carry all the diamonds with him. So there was a very skillful thief that observed this guy. He just kept observing him. How often does he go back and forth? How does he travel? Where does he get his ticket from? He just kept thinking about it. Finally, he said, so there was, this in Indian Railways, they have this coupe. Coupe means there are two people. First class, two people, one upstairs, one downstairs, coupe. So this diamond merchant got one of the seats and this thief got the other seat. And started to talk to him, how are you, what are you doing, this, that or the other. Waiting for him to go to sleep at night. And when he's deep at sleep, it's a very short, he only has one box, So before they went to sleep, they both went to the bathroom to change in their pajamas. So first the thief went, and then after when he came out, then the diamond merchant went and came out. And they both put the lights on, good night, and went to sleep. So when the diamond merchant was asleep, this guy said, okay, this is my chance. So he started to go through his luggage. And he couldn't find anything. His only clothing, toothbrush, this, that or the other. There's no diamonds anywhere. And there was a handbag. He went through the handbag, went through the whole thing, and there's nothing else. And he knew that this is a diamond merchant that carries millions of rupees worth of diamonds every time. He says he's got it, but he's frustrated. In the morning, they both went to the bathroom again, changed again into their other clothes and so on. And now the station is approaching near Surat. And this guy said, sir, you know who I am. I am one of the most skillful thieves ever. So the guy said, do you think I don't know that? He says, okay. Tell me where did you put your stuff? He says, under your pillow. When you went to the bathroom, I put it under your pillow. You searched all over. You searched under my pillow. You searched on my bed, blanket, box, handbag, everywhere. You did not look into it. He said, oh my God, so stupid of me. This is Swami Dayanandaji's story. It's a very famous story, really. This is talked about very much in one form or the other. There's a lot of forms of this. This is talked about. Believe it or not, this is our situation. That we are looking for happiness because our basic method is apraptasya prapti. Because I'm only used to trying to get things that I don't have. I never even think about the fact that I already have it. And I don't know where to look. So this is what is called nigudham. By the way, these concepts are, you'll find it everywhere. You will see in all the places, they'll say, deep in your own heart. The Atma is in deep in your own heart. Means that it is something which is you, but you make a mistake about it. And so that is the all forms of knowledge. Okay. So that is given in that page 47. The knowledge of the self is most secret. And I think he might even have the same example here, if I recall. Yeah, possibly. This is a very important point that I want to make. I wonder if I should stop, because that is probably one of the most important points that we. Well, let me do it, and so we can even go past 5 minutes, because I think the puja doesn't start until 12:15. So, if we have to go through. This is a crucial point. Being a very crucial point, it is something which is so subtle that generally it is not appreciated. This is I want to tell you something. This is, if there was one thing that I could communicate to you, this would be it. So please listen to this very carefully. All of us are in search of what is called Brahman. You can call it Ishvara, you can call it Paramatma, whatever. But whether we express it or not, we are all seeking Brahman. And I'm using the word Brahman very carefully because I'll define it later, but as a name, think of it as Brahman. What Brahman means is a sense of completeness, lacking nothing, lacking and independent of any conditions, independent. Not even being, imagine what that means. Independent of even time, not subject to time. None of us really want to disappear. No, absolutely no way. And exactly this is the reason why It's very funny if you look at the situation. That we all, most average person that we see knows that he or she is going to die. But they don't want to die. The next best thing that they do is to leave a lot of pictures behind them. Everybody, people are silly. Whenever there is a picture going on, they say, I want to be in there. It's very silly, honestly. You know what the reason for that is? That if I am not alive, at least my memory will be alive. This is the silliest thing ever. Who cares if you're not there? But no, at least I take a little satisfaction in the fact that my grandchildren will see me in a picture, not see me in person. My God. So anyway, so this is the situation. We are seeking Brahman. And what is the definition of Brahman? Who's independent of time. Independent of time. Independent of space. It's not as though available here, not available there. And the best thing, and then the most important thing, who's satisfied and happy. This is the definition of Brahman, which is also called Satchidananda. Sat, Chit and Ananda. Sat means independently true without any conditions whatsoever. Okay? So, I want to be like Brahman. I want to be Brahman. This is what we all want. Okay? Now, where will we find Brahman? This is the question. Is it in the form of Shiva, Vishnu, Rama, Krishna? Should I have a darshan of that person? What will do? Supposing Krishna was around, would you you meet him? So what happens then? You are still a person separate from Krishna. Well, if I go to heaven, perhaps I could become, and this is what is done. This is the teaching, that if you go to Vaikuntha, you go to all these places, you can be very close to Ishvara, you can be just chipto with him all the time. You'll get bored. You'll say, in the morning I see Krishna, evening I see Krishna, next day I see Krishna, don't I want to see something else? Nothing is going to work. So you want to be Brahman. You want to be the completeness. You don't want to be near a completeness. That's our secret. We want that. Now, given that, this is the thing. So this is an important thing. Not many people will tell you this. This comes from years of study and following and understanding and so on. Do you have any chance of getting that completeness later? Any chance? Do you think that completeness is not here right now? So what that means is the search for completeness must start with you now. You are already Sat. You are already complete. It is praptasya prapti, natu apraptasya prapti. And in fact, I'll just close this segment and we'll revisit it. Okay, this is a very important thing for us to see. Everything that you aspire for requires a method, what is called pramana, a proof, a method. Everything. Whatever you want to do. There is only one thing that does not require any method, any pramana, which is you. If you want to find out what diseases you have to go to a doctor. If you want to know how long you have to live, you can go to these Jyotish people. You want to see how long your health would, you can go to Ayurvedic. Some pramana is necessary. You go to a doctor and the nurse will immediately ask you, why are you here for? This is very interesting. Just last week, my doctor said, I need to see you. Okay, you have some problems with you. I've done some blood test. Please come and see me. Make an appointment. So I made an appointment to go there, and the nurse says, why are you here? I said, I don't know. The doctor asked me. She said, but still you must have something. So I had to make up something, So silly. So I had to do this. Suppose you go to this nurse and she says, why are you here? And you say, am I? Am I? So she says, are you what? You say, no. I don't want any. Am I there or not? Am I? So am I am, doesn't require any proof. And in fact, that I am is the only thing that does not require any proof. Even God requires a proof. Ishvara requires a proof. Everything requires some proof. You don't require a proof. So the search for completeness starts with you, because you are the only thing which is independent of time. You are. Not your body, not your diseases, not your mind, not your senses, not your sense of being alive, but you. You are always there. You don't require a proof. Think about it. This is so I'm telling you, all the Mahatmas say, please start the search for Ishvara by studying yourself. And Swami Akhandananda actually describes this. He says, I have so many times people will come and say, I want to understand God. I want to see God. So he says, have you examined yourself completely? He says, no, but I'm not really all that important. I'm the one who really needs help. So I want to see God. So he says, have you completely seen where your God is? Well, he says, not here. God is not here. Must be elsewhere. He says, how do you make that conclusion? He says, well, that's, because I'm unhappy. So God cannot be here. Must be someplace else. I want to go there, where I'll be happy in the presence of God. So he says, have you not looked at your own self? He says, I don't know what to do. He says, you have to start there. You have to start. It is a very interesting thing. So a lot of the Swamis used to say this, a very beautiful thing. You start with yourself, and after completing the search, you come back to yourself. You start with it, but the start is full of doubts. But the start is with you. And then after examination and clearing doubts and so on, you find, oh my gosh, this is where I was already. This is what I was saying about all these people who say they feel foolish. When that passport was lost, it was already with me, and I'm searching all over, and at the end of that, it is me alone that had it. So there it was a question of passport that you possessed. But here it's not a question of a passport, it's a question of me. Not a question of what I have, but what is my own nature, what is my swarupa. So the consciousness is not a guna, it is a swarupa. That's why the word, I think I've said that in my classes, that I don't like the word consciousness. Because the very word consciousness means it's a quality. Consciousness is not a quality. In fact, Swami Akhandananda uses the word jnanam. Because as we will see, as we proceed, we haven't even gone to that part yet, my nature is jnanam. I know. Knowledge. This is what means sat and chit, both. Anyway, so the search for God really begins with the search for myself. And it ends with myself. This is the funny part. We'll see that later. Om asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma amritam gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadai Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.